fraud to say that inner beauty matters the most. And it's this weird dichotomy because you might think like, Instagram face or all of these beauty ads being pushed on us. When you present yourself gracefully and femininely and trying to empower other women, we swung too much to the extreme. We see people wearing PJs out to the grocery store, and I don't care if it's even Walmart. Do not wear PJs. Something that is too feminine, being mocked for being too girly. I might have wrinkles or like I have a postpartum body, but saying that looks don't matter at all is just lying to yourself. Today's video topic might be a little bit controversial, and it is about the concept of looks matter. I have wanted to talk about this for a long time on my channel, but I just didn't have the maturity until being in my 30s, until having more life experience to know exactly how to properly express myself when it comes to this topic. Now, as some of you are aware, I used to compete internationally at beauty pageants. However, I don't talk about it anymore because it's been 11 years since my last big international pageant. But the point of why I'm bringing it up in this video is because at that time, having done pageants since the age of 15, I had noticed this trend of women getting all dolled up on stage and talking about how inner beauty is the thing that matters the most, or like very much concentrating on inner beauty. And I always found it a little bit of an oxymoron because like you are getting dressed up as a doll, you are putting forward the best version of yourself physically, and the concept of a beauty pageant really seems at first glance to be like more about physical beauty. So how does it make sense? And it's a little bit of like a fraud to say that inner beauty matters the most. And even on this channel, I talk a lot about physical beauty, but I also emphasize a lot about the inner beauty. So like, where do I stand when it comes to the concept of looks matter, but it's not what you think? So let's dissect it today in this video. And before I get into the points that I have, just a little disclaimer, my kids are in the background. You might hear them here and there. I wanted to shout out my members who really help support this channel. If you're interested in supporting my message, I will leave a link to it down below. Nevertheless, however, those of you who like the videos, and I mean, I guess technically dislike the videos, I do have trolls who come around for every video and make it a point to dislike it, but all of those actions, comment down below, like, dislike, all of those things do help push my videos out in the algorithm, and I appreciate it so much. So that's why I take about a minute to tell you all how grateful I am. Now, I'm going to make it clear that I do not want you to obsess over your looks, but the concept of looks matter is that they are a reflection of care. The care you have for yourself, care for others, and care for the life that you're building. It's not about obsessing over perfection. It is also about celebrating your beauty and acknowledging that you are worthy of presenting yourself in the best way possible. Again, not to an obsessive degree. So let's elaborate on that. Now, in society, it's almost become virtuous to say that you don't care about your looks, as if admitting it means that you're shallow, you're unintelligent, you don't care about the deeper aspects of life. But here's the thing, when people say that looks don't matter, what they really are saying is that character matters more. So these things can hold space simultaneously. You can care a lot about your looks, but also recognize that character matters more. The truth is that first impressions matter. It's human nature. The way that you present yourself doesn't have to be picture perfect. I've always talked about on this channel, my mom used to have this motto she said to me growing up, that every woman can be beautiful by the age of 30. And what she meant by that was that she wanted to encourage me to use my late teens and my 20s to focus on my style, to focus on my health, to really hone in on the things that work for me. And likewise, I mentioned before that not everybody is blessed with the same genetics, for example, same body shape, for example, but choosing to work your hardest at your own appearance with, again, holding boundaries for understanding that character matters more can help you look beautiful by the age of 30, quote unquote. Of course, extract this to like whatever age range. It's just an example. What your appearance communicates about you instantly is, do you value yourself? Are you disciplined? Are you approachable or intimidating? Do you respect the occasion and the people you are with? This is why a lot of traditionally feminine women, they get dressed up up for just being around the home. What I'm wearing currently right now, although, I am filming a video, this is actually the way that I would look on any given day, and I'm not going anywhere today. I value my home, I value my family, and I value myself and my mood, so I try to present myself in the best way possible. However, I'm going to repeat this throughout the video. There are limitations, there are difficult seasons. I have made a video about how painting your nails won't necessarily make you feminine. So when I talk about putting effort into your appearance, I again do not mean perfection, and I mean holding space for character being more valuable. And I've also talked about perfection, the balance of understanding your real life situation and finding middle ground. But my point is that I want you to reject the quote unquote virtuous standard of not caring about your looks at all that has been prevalent in our society for the past couple decades. And it's this weird dichotomy because you might think Instagram face or all of these beauty ads being pushed on us and all this overconsumption does reflect a society who does care about beauty. But when you look at the trends and how we've gone from a more androgynous society to one that used to celebrate the unique individual beauty of women through their silhouettes, through more feminine patterns, I'm not saying that you need to embrace pink to look your best, but it is a reflection of how society has fallen off in the looks department. And understanding that segues into my next point, which is the feminine approach to beauty. This is the difference between stewardship, which is more of the feminine approach, and manipulation. So that is why we still do have things in modern society that appeal to looks, but they are more centered on manipulation, on that concept of sex sells rather than embracing what is beautiful. Manipulation says, I will use my looks to get what I want. And stewardship, which is what I would call the feminine approach, says, I will care for my body and presentation because it is a gift. From a feminine lens, honoring your beauty, wanting to surround yourself with beauty, which is also a reflection of taking care of yourself, is about honoring the body that you had been given. And it's also about creating a graceful presence for yourself, your community, your family, your career, your children, and communicating to them that they are important to you and you are important to yourself. The same way you'd iron out a tablecloth before you were hosting a fancy dinner, for example. You don't have to do it for those you love. You don't have to do it for yourself. You don't even have to own a tablecloth, but it adds to the atmosphere, to cultivating a feminine space. It honors the atmosphere of those who are surrounding the table, and it's also a fun experience for yourself. And the concept of respect, the way that you carry yourself in feminine body language, your hygiene, your outfits, these all communicate respect. And unfortunately, the concept of respect has been twisted in modern society to be equated to slavery. There's very much of a laissez-faire type of society. We see a lot in the pushback on those women who want to be traditional wives, for example. When they say respecting their husband, the automatic red flags go up, and it's just assuming that you're in a oppressive dynamic. When I really want you to reinvent and relook at the way you see respect. Respect is not about putting somebody in their place. It is about honoring those you love, those you admire, the values that you uphold. When you present yourself gracefully and femininely and you're meeting other people, you're communicating that you respect their time and their presence. Teachers still dress up to teach their class because it gives them the self-respect for the role and the career that they had chosen, but also the souls that are sitting in front of them while they are teaching. Dressing up for my husband is because I take pride in the role in my home, being a wife, being a mother. He doesn't expect that from me. He loves me no matter what, if I'm wearing sweatpants, no makeup, whatever it is. But it's a nice gesture, and it's a form of respect to take pride in your appearance. And again, being respectful to yourself. This is the number one. Getting dressed every day will change your mood. I recently talked about in a video how I started doing my full makeup daily while I was in the trenches of mourning my mother and pregnant with my daughter because I was totally sick almost every other day. But I started doing full glam makeup every day because it communicated to myself that I was worth it. And there were so many things in my realm that I couldn't control, but that is one that I could. I have heard of other women experiencing discrimination for dressing up or like being too fancy, and I myself also experienced that, especially in university. But I want to encourage you in this culture to not listen to those critics. I can't exactly tell you why other people do that. Perhaps they feel an insecurity, but I want to give you that big sis motivation to do you, to not let other people kind of nag you down based on your style and the fact that you care a lot about your appearance. The feminist movement, although there are aspects that I will admit I agree with, taught women to, for example, burn their bras, not care about their appearance, cater to the male gaze, decenter men in a negative way. These are just like reinvented, recycled concepts that we hear about today. And although you all know on this channel, I am 100% against abuse, and I am here to empower women who want to live more in their traditional femininity. But through men trying to empower other women, we swung too much to the extreme. We see people wearing PJs out to the grocery store, and I don't care if it's even Walmart. Do not wear PJs out in public. I've talked about for safety reasons, sometimes I will dress in athletic wear when I'm going out, but it's never going to be pajamas. There are, like hard stances. I've seen people even like out with rollers or with face masks on, just crazy, crazy things. And we are all together. Like, you think your individual actions don't matter, but they are creating the culture for yourself and your future children. There's also the concept of like avoiding clothing that is too feminine, being mocked for being too girly. I was actually bullied in elementary school because I was the only girl in my class who kept wearing dresses. I was made fun of for looking too feminine. And it's really a shame because this is happening to our daughters. So again, like, you think that you presenting yourself, getting dressed up, caring about your appearance doesn't really matter, but every single action does shape the way that our daughters, our sisters, our nieces look at us and how they treat other women as well. You can care about your appearance and not be a puppet. The key, and that comes back to the original concept of character, is understanding the motive, nurturing your femininity by understanding that beauty matters. This is why we clean our space. This is why we put out flowers, or some of us are really into interior decorating, because beauty does influence the feminine woman and it does inspire her. This is even biblical for all my believers out there. The physical is a doorway to the spiritual. It's a doorway for values to be seen. Again, that concept of respect. Reprogram the way that you think about respect. Talking again about beauty pageants, the women who were able to use their appearance, their platform to actually do good deeds, but not be in that denial state of like, looks don't matter, while simultaneously putting curlers in and getting cosmetic procedures. Holding space for both, using your beauty to inspire other people. Every woman can do this. And I know many women are thinking like, I might have wrinkles, or like I have a postpartum body. What do you mean I can be beautiful a decade later? I am aging. Or like I wasn't blessed with certain genetics. But trust me, you can. The women in their old age that care about their appearance, I honestly, when I see them, I am taken aback. Like, they just have something in their presence that exudes warmth, because they understand that old age and whatever they've gone through in their life doesn't limit them from enjoying the beauty that they have, having fun with their appearance, for, even wearing like high heels just out to a casual restaurant. I used to wear heels out to Applebee's. Love Applebee's, side note. Everybody hates on Applebee's, but I do enjoy Applebee's. And I even went there for my birthday before. Couple times probably. So anyway, beauty does show discipline. And I'm not talking about the hardcore masculine way. So this is where I talk again about like the limitations, especially in my feminine homemaker video where we talked about laziness and then understanding like the difficulties in your life and meeting in the middle. Dissecting your beauty and being focused on looking perfect all the time is a masculine posture to have to beauty. If you feel like you can't do an activity because you're scared of your hair getting too messed up, or like you can't go outside at all without looking picture perfect, this is a masculine approach to beauty. What I'm talking about in terms of consistency is showing up every day in your life and doing things that nurture your beauty. It is like self-care, and that's why I started talking about the beauty checklist, and I have a mini series, side note, I will put it down below, where you hold yourself to a standard of doing things regularly. It's like the concept of dieting. I talked about skinny talk culture in a recent video as well, that a lot of that advice would be more on the masculine end of becoming lean, but taking elements from that and incorporating it in a natural way, like not being afraid to eat a piece of cake at somebody's birthday, like going out with your friends to have a nice dinner and a glass of wine, living your life holistically, but also on the regular, doing things that, for example, help you stay lean, making sure that you are regularly cutting your hair. And a limitation to that would be like, for me, I was postpartum and pregnant, so I wasn't comfortable doing highlights. And then long story short, I moved away. So I just stopped doing highlights, but that didn't mean that I didn't get my hair trimmed regularly and care for my hair in other ways. Yes, would it look amazing if I continued to dye my hair blonder? I think so. But the reality is that it just didn't suit my life right now. But that doesn't mean that I should just totally let myself go and not find like cute hairstyles and cut my hair and style my hair different ways, despite the fact that it is a darker color and it's not necessarily my first choice of darker colored hair. I think you get what I'm kind of saying here. I'm going a little bit too much on a tangent, but it's to help you adapt what this means for you in your life. The point is, you want to look like a woman who cares. Caring about things is not something to be shameful. Caring and failing, it's okay. Not caring at all, in my opinion, that is worse. Taking it too far, again, to that masculine side, making it an idol, that is bad. But saying that looks don't matter at all is just lying to yourself. I want you to ask yourself, what do you want your beauty to say about you? And from that question, use it as a prompt, write down some notes in your phone or like journal if you're into that, or just sit in silence sometime throughout the day and think about it. Beauty is a language. It is again about honoring, nurturing, respect. It is not shallow. It is intentional. It shouldn't be an idol, but it can be held space for. Your looks won't be the only thing that people notice about you, and they shouldn't. It shouldn't get in the way of cultivating your personality and your softness in other ways. But it is a door that opens connection and deeper meaning. In a world where beauty has been politicized, it's been taken as a rebellion, it has been created as a shallow thing, I want you, and I want me and all of us to reinvent beauty as a deeply feminine act that should be cherished. I'm going to end the video there. Thank you again, lovely feminine friends, and I will see you next time.